Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today is February 12th and I want to give you an update on what I do in the garden. In this case, what's going on in my grow light closet. And I'll do updates, once or twice a month just to show you what's growing, give you some ideas of what you can be starting now. I'm in Maryland Zone 7, so you can, judge based on that. So these are my seed flats that have been growing in my grow closet really since about January 12th. Let me just start with the first flat. You can start your herbs now. This is parsley. These are Walla Walla onions. This is rosemary, lavender right in here. A lavender, and this is celery leaf, yeah, and celery leaf. Now, the rosemary I did a video on. This was started on 116, and same with the lavender. And you can see how little it is. It grows very slowly. So this is something you can really start 10 to 12 weeks before it would go out inside your garden. The onions I've done videos on growing them in an overseeded method. And really, these are going to be my onion bunches that I separate and plant out into the garden. And you can start these early too, like 8 weeks, 10 weeks before they would go outside. Onions are fairly indestructible. So these will mature and they'll probably go out into my garden, let's say, somewhere towards the end of March or April. All these plants, herbs that I'm showing you in these trays and the other trays are really tolerant to frost. So they go out early. They can go out in my area in March and April. The real frost doesn't completely go away till maybe, I don't know, May 1st or something like that. Here's some thyme. The thyme was started on January 12th. So you can see a lot of these have been growing for a month. Some more, let's see, this is parsley. Let me just check what this is. And this is actually chervil. And this is sage right over here. So you can get your herbs, your onions, your lavender, your rosemary going really early, 10 to 12 weeks before it might go out into your area. And these have been growing in my glow closet. I use T12 tubes, which are the big fat fluorescent lights, and they sit about this close to the lights. I have my lights on 16 hours a day and 8 hours of darkness. Here are more herbs. These herbs were started a little bit later than that last batch, which was started on the 12th of January. These were started on the 18th. This is a mix of oregano and thyme that I accidentally did. This is actually celery. The variety is Kroll. These were started again on the 18th. I believe these are my chives on the 18th. We have some more oregano, some more Kroll celery, and back here is more oregano. So you can see the herbs do really, really well. I've showed you videos on the overseeding method that I use, but everything is growing nicely. And one thing I want to show you is if you look in here, there's no algae, there's no mold growing, and every year I really used to get green algae and mold, and some mold is okay. I haven't been getting anything dangerous. But by boiling water, using boiling water on my seed starting mix, to moisten it and really kill anything, spores or any kind of things that may be in it, has been effective. I'm spraying this once a week with neem oil, and I've also put cinnamon in certain places. But there's and as I'm going through these, no algae spots, no mold or anything like that. I'm really happy with how things are working. Here's a tray of my tomatoes. Now, it's way too early for tomatoes, but these are the tomatoes that I'm selling on my blog. These went into the seed starting trays on the 17th, so today's the 12th, so it's almost been 4 weeks. So you can see, and I don't know if you can see in there, but I've overseeded them, only because I was checking to make sure the seeds that I'm selling germinate, and I've cut some back, and I'll thin these down to 1. These were planted too early. I can't really put these into my garden until May, so I still have March and April and 2 more weeks in February. You want to start these about 6 or 8 weeks before they could go into your ground. But you can see what 4 weeks worth of growth is. So keep in mind, your tomatoes are going to get about this big in almost 4 weeks. Don't start them indoors too early, because what happens is the tomatoes believe they're bigger and older than they actually may look. So if you leave them in these trays and you feed them and take care of them, they're only going to get about this tall because they're root bound, and then they're going to start to flower, and then they're going to start to think they need to produce tomatoes. So you're really kind of creating bonsai. You're creating miniature plants, and you don't want that. You want to seed start your tomatoes 6 to 8 weeks before they would go out into your ground. But everything looks pretty, healthy and green. These have been fed because they are bigger after 2 weeks with about half strength or less liquid fertilizer, and you can see they look green. Also, on a side note, sometimes you can see the underside of these leaves are purple. That's perfectly normal. Some varieties are green, some varieties are purple. Different varieties will look, different. Here's one that's more purple. This is a potato leaf. Purple on the underside, that's nothing to worry about. As long as the top is looking nice and green, the stems are looking, a light green and purple color, they're okay. Right here, I've got some more herbs growing, nothing spectacular. These have gone into the grow lights on the 16th, and these are more varieties of onions. This is some spicy glow basil, which is too early to start basil. These are, it's actually dill, some tiny, what are these? Yeah, tiny Tom tomatoes, or tiny Tim tomatoes. These are all seed tested too for the herbs that I'm selling. A little bit too early for basil, well, really too early. They are a warm season crop and they don't like frost or anything like that, so way too early for that. But I'm going to try and grow these on my windowsill. This is, let me think a second. It is chamomile, and then some more basil back there. But you can really get these started. Here's another round, as on the 30th of thyme, and you can see that's January 30th. And this is thyme that was started on the 18th. So, 12 days. This is on the 30th. This is on the 18th. And you can see the difference in how quickly they start to grow. And finally, this is what else I have going on. These are the peppers that I'm selling in the pepper pack. I'm glad to see that they've all germinated. I actually bought a heat mat, and that is really helping out. I've never used one before, but peppers like 80 plus degrees, so they're going to germinate faster if you use a heat mat. My closet usually stays between 70 and 80 without a heat mat, but these are doing very, very nicely. And then I do have more. This is salvia. So I'm growing some flowers, Swiss chard, and these were all started, let's see, not too long ago. I got to find a date real quick. Here we go. So these were started on January 31st. So these are peppers that are about 13 days old. Peppers I like to start about 10 weeks to 12 weeks before they would go outside. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to grow these to size. So I want to get them about this big, so when they go out into my yard, they're a bigger size. But for tomatoes and peppers, you can really start them 6 to 8 weeks early, and they'll be, good enough to go out. If you want to grow them longer, peppers do grow more slowly than tomatoes. Start them 10 to 12 weeks. Swiss chard. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. This is Swiss chard. This is broccoli, and more Swiss chard, flowers, and this is leeks. So I'm growing leeks in the same style that I'm growing the onions because they're related, and I'll be able to just pull them apart, plant the leeks out in the garden, 4 to 6 inches apart, and they'll do really, really well. But this is what's happening in my garden. Hope it gives you some ideas of what you can seed start. Again, I'm in Maryland Zone 7, so you can judge things really based on timing based, on my zone. If you're up a little higher, you got to wait a little bit longer above me, and if you're below me, you can probably start, growing things now because it's going to warm up sooner. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.